To the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo and Blais coming at you. AJ should be joining us shortly as the Avs win 5-3 over the New York Islanders. How many ways can you describe a third period comeback until you're out of ways to describe it, Blais?
Well, I mean, I think we're going to find out this year.
No, I think
have we found out
already?
already?
We're already there. I think we are already there at this point when it comes to the third period comebacks with this Avs team. As AJ is on with us, AJ, how's Winnipeg?
It's cold as fuck.
Sounds accurate.
It's cold here too, by the way. It was like 68, 65.
Really freezing.
Yeah.
Pour
really
the beer on him.
He got enough liquids poured on him in the last week.
It's true.
It's fine. This game, especially the third period, to me felt like when you know it's not your year, you know it's not your year for the Islanders. You end up with a goal that did not cross the goal line because Anders Lee decided to whack it out of the net, the Avs net, for the record. And then you fail to capitalize on some other grade A opportunities. With that being said, let's start from the beginning here. The Avs, honestly, I thought played pretty well in the first period. The score ended up being 1-1 after one, but they were getting grade A quality chances. They just weren't finishing enough of them. And this is a weird conversation. Let's start with the Mikko conversation, because tonight, all of his moves were working. He was making Islanders defensemen look like nerds on every single play, but he wasn't finishing. So what is it good for?
Oh, are we? Is that me?
I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, you could tell that Mikko was feeling it. He was walking through people, but just, again, couldn't find the handle to score.
Yep.
So, I mean, it felt like he was going to have a great night. And again, like that whole first period, it looked like it was going to be domination from the Avs all the way through.
Yeah. Twice in this hockey game, it felt like the Avs had the wind taken out of their sails, with the Isles kind of coming back and scoring on them shortly after they score. Is this an issue, AJ, or is it more of a monument to the Avs being a different team this year, where you see that happen to them twice? Yes, the momentum shifts, but they still find a way to win this game.
Yeah, I think it really just speaks to the idea that, a thing that we talk about regularly, that there are two NHL teams on the ice.
For sure. And
that what we're talking about, the wind getting taken out of Colorado sails, is that wind goes somewhere. It doesn't just disappear,
Yeah.
It goes into the sails of the other team. And you talk about an Islanders team that has been on the upswing, and is like, if they're going to try and talk themselves into making a playoff push, they need absolutely every single point. Yeah. And so they really needed tonight to go well. And they didn't play very well, in my opinion. They had their moments, but were it not for Darcy Kuemper's worst game of the year, and this just some comical things that went their way, they really don't. They really wouldn't have created a whole lot, and they certainly wouldn't have scored as often as they did. They got Darcy Kuemper on a C night, and couldn't put it away.
Yeah, it wasn't enough for sure. And that's, I think, the feeling around the league right now is the Avs are a team you have to put away, because even right now, even 2 goals doesn't feel like a safe lead against the Avs in the third period. It genuinely feels like this team is right on you at that point.
Yeah, and with 1 goal, you should have. I was listening to the Islanders broadcast, because normally it's pretty solid, and is pretty well informed on the opposing team. I won't get into any of that tonight because it was bad, but it was interesting, like, their perspective going into the third period, where they were talking about, like, they could really use another goal here
Yeah.
because this team leads the NHL in comebacks. Like they could really use another one. And so they, and they were right. Like you just never, going into the third period this year feels different than it has in really any other year with Jared Bednar as coach. Where this year it just feels like the team is never out of a game. That as long as they're playing, as long as they've shown life in that game, because like the Boston game, they showed no life whatsoever, right? And so Boston started to build their lead back up after 2-1, and you were like, yes, done. But this was one where I felt, the Islanders were really, really, really fortunate to be in the position that they were in, and that they didn't do enough with the lead. And should the goal have counted? Should it have come back? I didn't see it cross the line entirely.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, look, this is close. This is a heartbreaker. I don't see where you make this argument that should have been a goal.
Yeah, from every angle I saw, it didn't cross the line.
Well, they had a pretty definitive shot, too, where they zoomed in, and you could see that there was no white behind the puck. Like, it never fully crossed. Yep. I don't think you could get any closer. But...
Yeah, it was like it's a razor thin margin, but also like if Darcy Kuemper stops a routine shot, again, we're not there.
You're right.
For sure.
Like that puck, like had that gone in, that would have been a heartbreaker for Colorado to give up because they had completely dominated the third period and they dared to give up one routine shot from 8 feet away.
We're sitting here talking about how Darcy Kuemper let one in that he just can't instead of the Avs winning this hockey game. So
yeah, absolutely. And like at a 4-3 game with 7 minutes to go, I still don't have confidence that the Avs lose that game.
True.
Because of, like the way that they came out at the start of the third period. What did they end up with? Like 20 shots on goal in the third?
Yeah, it was aggressive. They had like 20 shots on goal in the first 2 periods and nearly equaled it, I believe, in the third period, if not did equal it. So it was once again this team proving they can turn it up when they need to. Blais, it's your turn to do the 60-second rundown of the hockey game. Last time you only needed 5 seconds. I think you might need more than that for this one.
Yeah, as I die here. Sorry about that. Avs came out hot. Couldn't really get things going. Generated the right way. They did score a goal. Second period came along. Got some pushback. I think that was the Islanders' best period by far, where they were really pushing the play there. And then ran into an ex-player that just made them pay for trading them to the Avs.
Yep. That's a pretty good summary of that game. I don't know, is the graphic ready, here? The obvious king of the game tonight, Devon Toews, the 3-point night. Oh, yep. Let's put up the wrong graphic real quick.
Poorly shot.
There you go.
There we go.
Devon Toews, 3-point night. He adds a goal to 2 assists. This was the Avs' dynamic defense on full display tonight.
Yeah.
And, you had Cale Makar getting involved in things too, but Toews was just... It's honestly incredible to me how well these guys read the play, especially in the offensive zone where they see an opening and they just send it.
Yep. Honorable mention to Burakovsky because obviously set up one of those goals that Toews had, and then also a goal for himself as well.
The give and go with Burakovsky and Toews was Barry Trotz is going to pull that up on video tomorrow and be like, this is a teaching moment, Ross Johnston. When they do that to you, you don't just hang out up high.
Yeah.
Because he turned his back to Devon Toews, and Devon Toews goes, okay, bye.
See ya.
And Burakovsky just stood there and was like, is this guy for real? Y'all both coming at me? Okay. And like Burakovsky handling the puck up high in the zone like that is always...
You're a little on edge, for sure. You're a little on edge when that's
that was a high danger pass, right, AJ? Like, it was through the legs. Like, that had a high chance of getting deflected out of the zone.
Like, some things could have gone wrong, for sure. And it worked out, and it's a great play. It's a high-skill play.
Yeah.
That's your high-risk, high-reward kind of play, where If that goes wrong, they're going the other way with at least a clean breakaway with at least one guy.
I mean, the Avs were kind of doing the high wire act all night tonight. Like, Darren Helm was putting pucks between his legs along the offensive blue line. They were getting pretty adventurous a lot. Got away with it for the most part.
Yeah.
They really didn't give up too many opportunities the other way. So
I thought Burakovsky looked a lot better when they made the mid-game swap and put everybody kind of back to where they should be.
yeah, back to the normal top six lines. Yeah,
because the top line, the MacKinnon line, looked like it was really missing that extra element of oomph.
a little grind. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
and the whatever like magic that we thought we were seeing with Kadri and Landeskog, like you throw NEWHOOK in there instead of Nichushkin, and it just sort of changed the dynamic enough that it was like, let's just put this back.
Yeah.
And they did, and I thought both lines took steps forward and really dominated the third period as a result.
Well, let's go a little bit chronologically here. MacKinnon shows up, pops off for the first goal of the game. I don't really know what to tell other teams when MacKinnon does stuff like this, because it's like, yeah, he's just better than you. What do you do when you have Nathan MacKinnon walking it between a dude's leg behind himself, finding it in the slot, and just beating your goaltender? I don't know how you ask someone to defend that. You just go, dang, he's really good. So, obviously, the start the Avs were looking for there.
Yeah, it's a high skill play, man. I mean, that was exceptional hockey.
Right.
Like, it's very standard stuff here, and then all of a sudden, MacKinnon is just like, that's just nasty, and that's the guy where you're like, how did this guy have 4 goals for 2.5 months? Like, what the hell, man? And then he scores, and you hear Roach in the background like scoring a 16th of the sin. You're like, happens fast, doesn't it?
He really has been a man on a mission the last 3, 4, 5 games, where it's like, that dude's hungry and that dude wants to put pucks in the back of the net.
Yeah.
So,
And he was feeling it. I mean, like I said, like when he came out of that first period, I mean, there was a jump to that line. They're zipping pucks around. So
I think you pointed out in the third period, Mac walks in and just, he fires a absolute missile, and Sorokin makes the save because the shot just hit him in the blocker. But like,
yeah, that wasn't.
Yeah.
He didn't put his blocker was just there, and Mac hit it. So
and you're seeing that level of shooting ability, which Mac has never had the greatest shot in the world, but it's been good enough.
yeah,
When he's shooting like that, other teams are just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It is what it is on that front. The other side, we don't have to get too deep into this because I hate talking about it. Did we think it was a fairly reasonably reffed game for the most part? That face is correct. That is the correct face.
we were laughing about it in the third period, where like let an Avalanche penalty just go by the wayside, and then not 20 seconds later, the
Mac
weakest
gets a
call.
Yeah. It was back and forth for both teams. Again, I don't think it really favored either team necessarily, but you're in this baffling situation where, again, all you can ask for is consistency. All the players want is consistency, because if you're consistent, then they know what they can and can't do. And every single call in this game, it felt like was, you didn't call that 3 shifts ago. What's going on? So,
yeah, about the only call that you were like, yeah, all right, was when Makar high-sticked Clutterbuck, because you were like, okay. I mean, and even then, Clutterbuck like clutching at his face when it very clearly hits the side of his helmet. It's like, you fucking drama queen, just calm down.
So, unfortunately, one of those penalties after their first goal leads to New York's first goal of the game. The goal was technically after the penalty expired, but it was really still on the power play, one of those kind of goals. Not really sure if it was this the deflected goal off Kale, or was that the second goal? I forget.
Well, I didn't see. I didn't see it hit anything.
Neither did I. But like I'm like trying to give Kuemper the benefit of the doubt when you get beat 7-hole. Like,
I'm pretty confident that he just never saw it because the first thing that I noticed on live was Kuemper stood up and went and butt patted Makar and was kind of like, "Thanks, pal."
It was definitely the shield the goalie without stopping the puck to the best of your ability play for Makar.
I just don't think he saw it because Makar just happened to be
in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just like that's bad goaltending, and that's just a bad puck tracking. It's just bad break. That's just it. And like you just try and survive those. You give those up sometimes. It was a lot of the other stuff from Kuemper tonight that drove me crazy. But yeah, giving them a free goal like that where they're not playing well. They just had a power play where they had a ton of puck possession, and I guess they shot the puck a lot, but it didn't.
It wasn't dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't. It really didn't feel like it was a power play that was going to build into any kind of 5v5 momentum. And then they get some free shit, and I'll tell you this: like Ryan Pulock deserved that. That's his first goal of the season as a guy that's like a 10 to 15 goal scorer every year. He's been so snake bit this year that, like, obviously I watch plenty of the Isles, right? But it's like Pulock kind of deserved that. It was just kind of shitty to see it happen tonight.
Look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because the Avs took the W, right? So,
yeah, like you survived it, right?
Yep.
But it's one of those things. That's fine.
So, we are brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery. You can go get their beer, but also they are giving away tickets to the game on today's Tuesday, so Saturday, March 5th. They're giving away game tickets to the Calgary game. All you have to do to win them is go over to Instagram, post a picture of yourself in Avs gear to your story. It can be a jersey or some DNVR merch or whatever. Make sure you tag at Breckbrew and at DNVR_sports. If you get us both tagged in the picture, you'll be entered to win tickets to the game against Calgary. Be sure to get in on that. Go get yourself some free dope Avalanche tickets. Brought to you by Breckbrew. Free beer is pretty cool. Free tickets are pretty cool. Breckbrew is giving you both. I don't know. There aren't that many better things than that in the world. So go hit up Breckbrew for that. Use your Instagram to win yourself some free Avs tickets. Again, just throw on some Avs merch, take a picture, hit up at Breckbrew in the tags on your story. You're good to go.
And a pretty dope game to go to, too.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited about it. Calgary is one of the better teams they play in March. They have a couple games against Calgary and a game against Carolina that are the two that you're really looking at for the Avs. Like, these are the ones. Yeah. These are the ones. But either way, Breckbrew's dope. So is DraftKings Sportsbook. You use code DNVR to sign up for a new account there. You get amazing odds boost every single day, so be sure to jump on that. You can bet on things like Blais goes 3 for 3 tonight on his bets. So be sure to jump on the Blais train as he hit them all. Which, I mean, come on, Devontae's point against his old team. That one was free, but MacKinnon gets the 4.5 shots to hit. I know Yahir hit on the over, which I didn't think was going to happen in this game, but even the Taves, everyone is making mad money on the Colorado Avalanche right now. That's all I'm hearing is take all the Avs bets and win a ton of money. So jump on that right now. Again, when you go over to DraftKings, use code DNVR to sign up for a new account. Right now, they're running a promotion with the upcoming UFC fight. Be sure to get in on this deal that I'm about to tell you about when I find out what it says. Hang on. Usually don't have these issues, but we're in it today. No, that's the wrong read. No, that's the wrong read. Yeah, I found it. All right. So, what you're going to want to do is go over there, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the DNVR promo code, and no, this is old. This is not updated. Oh well. There's a super dope thing that I don't know what it is with the UFC fight coming up this week. Do that. Win. What do you win? All right. So it's like
boosted as shit.
bet $3 on the main event. If you pick the winner, you probably win like $150 or maybe like $200 or something. That's what they usually do.
Just making reads up now. This is great.
Dude, I make reads up every day. Today I was like, I'll actually look at what the read is and I'll do the right thing. No, can't find it. So I should just stick to my nonsense, I guess. Go to DraftKings though. What you really want to bet on is Cale Makar to win the Norris anyway. Just literally bet your house on that. And you'll be good. You'll win thousands of dollars. You'll help us.
Blais, how many times have you doubled down on that bet?
I'm like either at 9 or 10. I can check real fast.
Blais has his kids' tuition on Cale Makar to win the Norris.
It's like it's all the tuition for hockey next year.
There you
paid
go.
for.
Hockey's
no, that's
expensive.
the 4-year-old's tuition. You gotta start early.
Anyway, hit up DraftKings. You can bet on all sorts of nonsense. Highly recommend it. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Other terms, restrictions, and conditions apply.
Only 8
Only 8. Wow.
so far.
Slacking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's late now. You used to get it plus. Now it's at minus 150 for Kale to get in on the
They're
Norris.
gonna when he wins, they're gonna think you're a Russian bot and they're gonna shut down your account.
Decline all your bets.
Yeah.
You're going to have DraftKings show up at my door to audit me. Make sure I'm a real person.
Of course, go to DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. The Avs come out in the second period. They have that great goal. We talked about it a little bit. Burakovsky to Taves. Ridiculous read from everyone involved and just excellently executed. And then the Avs
based off of how they were playing, I looked at Z and I was like, this game's over. She was like, really? They don't have to play anymore? And I was like, yeah, I think this is done. Because I was ready. Like, they had dominated the Islanders in the first period, and they had no business being in a tie game. And for them to have come out at the very start of the period and to do that, I was like, oh, yeah, they about to take flight. And then...
yeah, the Avs put your theory to the test. Happen. They did, in fact, stop playing for a little bit after that goal. Immediately get a goal dropped on them in the interim. And then another one later on in the second period. It's how much of this are you willing to chalk up to weird stuff happens in hockey games, and how much of this is
a lot. Let me tell you, because before, so they scored to tie it up, right? Whatever. The puck slides through everybody on Earth. It just slides through the entire everyone on the ice. You're just like, what? It's it's not even like a bouncing puck where players are taking stabs at it. They just miss. And 4 guys make 50-50 coin flips and can't knock it out of the air. It's flat on the ice. It just slides through everybody. And I'm like, how often do you see something like this happen where a puck comes from the corner and goes through at least 5 guys on the ice?
And it's to the far side of the net, right? That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
And then KUEMPER overcommits and opens up the net because he's lost the net at that point. Because he's desperate, right? It was just, oh my God. I was like, are you kidding me with this? And people are like, oh yeah, the defense needs to play better. And it's like, okay, sure, but this is some bullshit. And then we're talking minutes after that, the officials negate an icing. They call off an icing for no reason, and the Islanders generate a scoring chance after one of their guys, I don't remember which defenseman it was, took a shot and his stick blows up.
Yeah, it explodes.
Yeah.
It turns into a perfect pass to a guy in front of the net. And KUEMPER makes a great save on it, does a great job. But it was you're watching that, and the whole thing starts with an icing that they blew down for no fucking reason. And it was just when stuff like that starts to stack up on you, you're like, bro, this may be a bad karma night. This is some bad juju all over the ice.
Genuinely, all night, you're watching broken plays go right to New York Islander sticks. all night.
Look at the third goal. Like
Yep.
the third goal, that puck, like Kuemper, it stops Kuemper, and then the puck bounces up and hits MacKinnon in the stomach and falls onto Palmieri's stick, and you're like,
Okay.
you're like, oh my gosh, okay, like I get it, but
Even down the stretch, right? Like with 3 minutes left, like what happened out in front of Kuemper there? Like the puck just bounces straight out to an Islander streaking in.
Yeah.
yeah, well, and like some of that, like Makar loses it because he's trying to get too cute. And he's
Yeah,
trying
that's
to make,
Sure.
Yeah, that's where it
Like
starts.
he's trying to make one of those plays that only Cale Makar can make, and then when he fails to do it, it's like, wow, that looks real bad.
Well, they gift wrap an
Maybe
opportunity.
this is why other guys don't try this. But and then it goes totally sideways.
Yeah.
Somehow still doesn't like. That was the point where I was like, this is the universe evening up this. Like they're not waiting till next Monday when the Avs
Yeah.
are playing.
No,
the
that
Islanders
no
next.
goal got evened up right away.
Yeah, they're evening up this right now. The universe is done with all karma involving this game tonight. There was no red in the ledger by the end of that game because all the nonsense that had gone New York's way went Colorado's way at the very end.
Yep. And that was the difference in the hockey game. I'm really excited to break down some of these goals on my review video later because this game is the epitome of how hockey is a game of inches. You have the no goal on the Islanders side in the third period where less than literally millimeters from that puck being in the net. And then on the other side, and credit to Burgakowski for making an unbelievably good play here, but on the goal he scores, yes, he gets lucky. It bounces off the dude's jock and into the net. But
It
when
goes right off of Andy Green's rig.
but when he's shooting that puck, you can see the timing of it. I forget who it was on the Islanders that is behind him. But Berkey shoots it about 0.2 seconds before that guy drops his stick down right where his stick was. And it's like, that's the difference. You score goals in hockey by that much.
Yep.
And it's awesome to see it exemplified so perfectly in one hockey game.
Sorokin also loses his net on that.
He does. There's a
way,
good bit out.
way
Yeah.
overstated that where you were like, bro. And I thought Sorokin was great tonight. The first period, the only reason that the Avs don't put up 3 or 4 is because Sorokin was good. He was solid.
Other than the Landy goal, I agree.
That just happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've said before that anytime a guy scores from behind the red line, it's a bad goal.
Sure.
And I do feel that way, but like there's also that's a situation where he can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean,
Well, you got to get to the post.
yeah, if you seal it, that doesn't go in, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to. I mean, it's easy to
I
say,
know,
hard
I
to do. Like, there's a lot of times that I've seen. You know, it's like, oh, this is going to hurt the goalie, but it's a goal. So
if I'm out there,
Shitty being
I'm
you.
absolutely the guy getting goals scored off my jock. I know what the score is, all right? But either way, it really was a weird hockey game because the Avs' skill was on display for the whole thing. From start to finish, it's certainly in the offensive zone. It was like, oh, they're kind of globetrottering this team.
Yeah, there was definitely an element where you could see the skill was shining. And like I thought, just as an example of that, I thought Cale Makar offensively was great.
He was a freak. He was a freak tonight.
I loved him with the puck, and then I thought he was so fucking bad on defense. I thought oh my god, they were feasting on him, and like there was some bad luck involved there, where they got that little Anders Lee Brock Nelson 2-on-1 from the turnover, behind Colorado's net because the puck goes off of the ref's skate as Makar goes to get it,
and he like straight up kicks it to
and he kicks it to out to Anders Lee, and they get a scoring chance out of it. Again, like there were some bounces for the Islanders that probably should have ended up in Colorado's net, but then the things that ended up in Colorado's net probably shouldn't.
Bad goals, yeah.
So it was kind of a weird game like that, but for Makar, it was like the ultimate tale of two superstars here, where, he was electric offensively. He was reading the play. He did. I thought his puck moving was good. I liked that he was shooting. I liked a lot of his decisions to shoot, especially on the power play. I thought it looked a lot cleaner. And then defensively, it was just getting run through.
Yeah. The video coach is going to have a lot to break down in the defensive zone. I mean, just watching the game, there was a lot of breakdowns down there. Don't want to pick too much on Johnson's play in the defensive zone there, but there was one where I can't remember who was coming down, where he actively got out of the way of the shooter and just let them have the lane to the net.
One-on-one, and he's like, what if I just skate over here? Okay. Kuemper ended up making the save on that one, but go ahead.
Yeah, and then on the other one that we talked about as well is just for some reason in front of the net, there's always no Avalanche defenseman and an Islander right out front.
Yeah, like multiple times when the Avs failed to get the puck out of the zone, you look back into the zone and there's an Islander alone in front of Darcy Kuemper, and you're like, that's bad. Don't do that. Stop. The other thing I would point out,
it also hurt them because there were times where they had situations like that where the Avs broke pucks out.
Yeah,
and that guy, they had numbers because that guy was chilling.
I think half a dozen times they had 3-on-2s. Yeah,
I do wonder how much of that is coaching wrinkle on coaching wrinkle, where Trotz was like, "Hey, we're gonna put this guy here, where we think it can be an advantage," and the Avs were like, all right, we'll live with that.
You do that, and we'll send it. Yeah,
we're the best team in the NHL in transition, and you're going to give us numbers on purpose. Like, we'll take the chance that we can defend your guy net front eventually, versus giving us a free numbers breakout. So I do wonder, like, how much of that. Like, I don't think on any given night you're going to be like,
sure,
hey, big dog, just hang out, like. But I do wonder how much of that is like a trade-off that the Avs were okay with.
Yeah, and that's a side effect of also pushing play, right? And having your defense jump up into the play. Like, you're always going to leave a guy back there. But it just seems like once you see that, you should identify and at least drop another guy back.
The part that drove me crazy about it is you can count 5, 6, 7 times a night where the Avs trying to break the puck out deep in their own zone. Cut right in front of Kuemper to go up the middle, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's man one hockey.
This is fine. Just don't turn it over.
Well, and like, we react like that, but also, like, the Avs, this is why the Avs are like puck skill. We have to have guys who have puck skill because we want to play this way. It's not a way that other teams play. And when other teams aren't playing that way, guess what they're also not doing? Other teams aren't defending somebody playing that way every night. Yeah. And so it causes problems. Like, that, it's so funny to me that we talk so much about how Colorado has a problem with X styles or whatever. And on 9 out of every 10 nights, it's the other team having a problem with Colorado style.
Yeah.
And you saw it tonight. Like, at its absolute best, at the Islanders' absolute best during the second period, you're talking about a period that shots-wise ended up almost even in terms of shot attempts.
Well,
ended up almost even.
And you look at the quality of opportunities the Avs still get when the Islanders were giving them their best.
Yeah.
And the quality is there for Colorado, regardless of whether they finished them or not. They're definitely in that boat. And I do think part of the conversation is, unfortunately, the Avs' depth really didn't produce tonight, but the best shift of this game for the Avs was a fourth-line shift in the offensive zone where they genuinely spent like 2 straight minutes in the offensive zone at 5-on-5. And unfortunately, nothing came of it, but they made them work.
A shift involving Darren Helm and Curtis McDermott and Nicholas Ave-Kubel was excellent.
Yeah.
And kept them hemmed in long enough. But I'm telling you, like, they need help there. They very obviously
they need
help
finishing.
there.
They just do.
But like that if you're looking for a positive sign, it's that against a grindy team that wants to play that way, those dudes did fine tonight. Like
Had no trouble.
that was not an area where Colorado struggled tonight. That was not the group that had any kind of problems. I don't think individually any lines 1 through 4 were problematic tonight. I don't think any of them got caved. None of them got run through. They all had moments. There were positives for everybody out there tonight. And I just think that if it weren't for a poorer night, it wasn't like he was atrocious or anything. Just nowhere near as good as we've seen recently. But if it weren't for a weaker night from Darcy KUEMPER, this probably isn't a very competitive game.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
this is the magic of having such a high-end, well-rounded team. Darcy KUEMPER had an off night tonight, and at the end of the day, it just didn't matter.
Yeah, if you're going to give up 3 goals, we always talk about it's largely a race to 3 in the NHL. If you're going to give up 3 goals, you've got to have it in the bag to be able to score more than that.
Yeah.
All right.
Avs
Well,
do. Yeah.
they had that in the bag. They got 4 with a goalie in net, and then they ended up with an empty netter. And P.S. Great job by Eric Johnson. Super calm, makes it look easy, and then you're wondering why this is a team with guys like Mikko Rantanen
can't score an empty netter to save his
have the
life.
puck in the offensive zone without a goaltender there, and you're just like plop, 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 plop. So 2 other guys. I know I don't know where we're headed, but I really don't want to get out of the show without saying how strongly I felt about both of these guys tonight. But how many times have we talked about playing Alex Newhook with talent?
Sweet
Yeah.
Jesus, did he look good tonight?
Right?
Had a lot of high danger chances.
Like, and I understand that he was involved in a lot of high event hockey,
Yeah.
that there was a lot for and a lot against. He ended up on the right side of those things, except for high danger chances. But that's where we're talking about. Look, you put skill with skill and you see how it goes. He was all over it. It ruled.
In the offensive zone with him this whole game, I'm literally just sitting there going, yes, yes.
It was really, really good and super encouraging. And it was like that was the kind of performance where we're talking about like, hey, like when you put him with talent, I think he's gonna thrive. But this is like proof of concept, right? Like just one more feather in the cap of like, look, Nas, we love you. You're gonna get paid way too much money though, and we're gonna be okay with that.
Feather in your cap, you say?
Yeah, feather in your dad, feather in your lad, feather in your hat, and feather in everything but a cap. Apparently, good God, man, that was hard to watch, honestly. But no, the other guy that I really want to give love to, and I'm sorry, Rudo, and I know you're gonna roll your eyes, but dude, I think we're starting to see a string of games together here from Ryan Murray. And especially with the puck in the offensive zone, where it's like he's creating things, he's moving around. He's not just standing there and being like, "All right, I'll just play my position." He's starting to vibe a little bit more, like we saw he was doing before the injuries. And I like that upside, man. I like it. Defensively, it's obviously still like it's not physical. It's all positional. It's all stick. It's all get out and transition, whatever. But I thought Ryan Murray acclimated really well to the Islanders coming at him. I liked Ryan Murray more than I like Sam Girard.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed on that. I thought it was a really rough night for Sam Girard, to be honest with you. Did not think he played particularly well in either zone. I didn't mind Ryan Murray tonight. I thought he was fine. I still don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and I can't throw him. So
well. I don't trust his health, but I've always trusted the player because I'm familiar with him. But obviously there have been some brutal nights for him, and especially when he first came back a couple weeks ago, where it was like, oh, this is not great. But I think honestly, I think it's if he can really settle into that, and I'm not just like, if this is the best that he has, it's still not. I would say. You're still looking for a little bit more there. You can get better.
Yeah.
But if he builds off of this and becomes consistently more than this, or even honestly just consistently this, it's a much higher level than we've seen from that spot at times this year. And so When you're trying to bring the floor of your roster closer to your ceiling, that kind of improvement from a veteran is, I think, is an important development to keep an eye on, especially as they approach the deadline. You don't really need Luke Shen if you get that kind of play out of Ryan Murray.
Fair enough. We are brought to you by Avaca TV, so if you don't want to have a hard night and want an easy way to watch the Avalanche for just $25 a month, you can go to them and get their receiver. It comes with over-the-air and internet, so you got to have internet for the record. But for just $25 a month, you can get Altitude TV as well as other national channels as AJ turns into Deep Throat over here.
What happened? Okay. I know what happened.
Did you like change your monitor to like some dark screen or something?
I switched tabs to a night background.
That's what did it.
Our eCam is bright white.
Avaca TV will not leave you in the dark when it comes to watching the Avs and Nuggets. They will also have AT&T Sports Network when the Rockies do officially return from whatever lockout nonsense is going on right now with the MLB. So they got you covered for all your local sports. Be sure to jump on it. It's great picture quality. Highly recommend. Again, compared to Comcast, which you literally cannot watch Altitude on right now, it's way cheaper than DirecTV. So it's your best option to legally watch the Avs right now, which I get it. I know a lot of you are perfectly happy with piracy and all of that, but there's a lot of Avs fans out there that have fallen to the wayside because they either don't understand or don't want to figure out how to do that. So those are the people. Recommend Avaca TV to them. That is how you do it. Yeah, I say you got to have internet because I get it. I know YouTube's audience. I know a lot of you. I know you guys know how to find your Avalanche game. But I'm saying, like, my parents, go to my dad. He would love something like Avaca TV because he's not going to go through all the nonsense of Sports Surge or whatever other nonsense you're trying to get through. So, maybe keep in mind something like your parents to go let them know they can watch the Avs and it's not that difficult to do on your TV anymore. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We're also brought to you by Ranch Rider. Got one right on the table right there. Absolutely delicious. We're genuinely like running through them here at the bar faster than we can restock them.
Every time I come in here, they're just gone.
Wasn't me this time. That was only last time. But they're actually delicious. They're in the top 10 selling alcohol companies in the U.S. right now, so they're good. They come from Texas, from a food truck. They use ranch water, which is the thing, I guess. It's basically just delicious seltzer water. I don't know how else to explain it. They use tequila and vodka in it, so you mix it together. You get real drunk. It tastes real good. Everybody wins. All right? Top of the line. That's the way to go. I'm saying. It's that easy. Yeah. So check out your Ranch Riders today. Go get some of their... What's cocktails in a can? Is that the official term? Okay, that's what it is. Third period for real. Look, the Avs are the first team in the NHL to 40 wins. They're 40-10-4, which is actually dumb.
It's March, people.
It's March 1st. It's barely March. And the Avs are... Carolina lost in overtime tonight, so they're 5 points clear of the next closest team still. They're good. I
historically good.
Genuinely, I don't know that I've ever watched a team that's been this good in the regular season. And I watched the classic era Avs, and they were really, really good. So it's ridiculous. AJ, we talked about this before the show a little bit. You've been on like 1,000 podcasts. What's that like? Jack Johnson, 1,000 games.
Well, you just have to be dedicated to the craft, and you have to work hard every day.
This is the most fucking hockey answer I've ever heard you have.
You haven't given it to the other people yet, though. Like, you can't make it all about yourself, right?
I mean, it's really a testament to the talent that I've had around me that has elevated me to this point, and really been able, I've been able to survive a co-host change a couple of times, which
Oh my god!
which really goes to show you that it's really about who I'm working with and not who's working with me. That is really the key to keeping us on the air. So. I just want to give a shout out to everyone who's come on to the show and given me reason to talk about hockey.
If you ever need someone to filibuster, call a hockey player, because they can talk about nothing forever.
You gotta add some more ums in there to be a real hockey player. There's a lot of ums and you knows.
Yeah, you knows. The you knows they get in there.
You knows.
Oh, I just think that. Well, through 1,000 games, that's just kind of the way she goes, bud.
You wake up on day one and you think, I can't believe I get to go do this today, and then by the 50th day, you're like, this is dope. And then when you're talking about 1,000, you're like, that just means I'm old, LOL.
By game 1,000, it's still great, but I don't want to get up in the morning. Congratulations.
Why do you think that our podcast is at 1 p.m.?
I mean, I don't want to get up in the morning either, so fair enough. Looking ahead for Colorado, they have one more game that you would expect them to win on Thursday. They're going up against Arizona. AJ, what's your take on March? This is another thing we talked about in the pregame. You have a couple games against Calgary, one against Carolina, one against Minnesota right at the end of the month. But this is a lot of games where you're looking at it and you're saying these are a lot of beatable teams.
Well, when you're the Avalanche, you're looking at 31 other teams and saying that's a lot of beatable teams.
Fair enough.
And like you're talking about, like we're elevating Calgary just because they're the only other, like they're second in the West, right?
Yeah.
They've been on an unbelievable hot stretch, and they've gotten great goaltending, and they've had a great top line, and they do all these things, right? And I keep making the case that they are the Kopitar Cup era Kings.
Sure.
It's exactly who I see.
Get it, and they can make some noise, kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a big physical defense that's multifaceted enough to chip in, but it really is about shutting you down, shot suppression, great goaltending, and a top line winning games for them. Depth wise, I think they're pretty solid too. I mean, you have the Mangiapanis and Blake Coleman's and guys like that filling out your depth. They're pretty good, man. So I think that the Calgary games are going to be important to see as a measuring stick for everybody. Hey, the Flames want to take a shot at the top team in the West. Like standings wise, I think it's going to be tough for them to really chase down Colorado. But when you're looking and you're projecting and you're trying to use regular season matchups to forecast the future, which first of all, don't do that. But it's always going to be a conversation when you get into a playoff series. Well, how'd they do during the regular season? And I think those are going to be important litmus tests for everybody. Colorado wants to see how they do against Calgary too. I think they were important litmus tests for Vegas. That Vegas got cozy, the tight little schedule that was heavily in their favor in that situation, and got 0 points out of it. And obviously injuries and availability and a lot of factors play a role in these things. But I think when you're looking at the schedule, you're saying, look, Colorado's going to be favored in every single one of those games. You definitely want to see what they do against Carolina. I think that's going to be I feel like that's probably a matchup a lot of people want. But you also just want to see, hey, like they do their thing. They're still competitive, and you don't want to get swept by anybody except Columbus this year, because that's done.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous to think about the pace the Avs are on with the win tonight. They are tied for the second fastest team to 40 wins ever.
Yeah, and like the Avalanche should start having the conversation where, like they are, games in hand, suddenly they've played more games than everybody. It's so strange. But, games in hand being what they are, like they're starting to separate from the teams out east a little bit.
Yep.
And like that's a cluster of teams. I mean, you're talking they've got a 14-point lead on the Western Conference.
Genuinely, the West is over.
Both 70-point teams, St. Louis and Calgary, have 2 games in hand. So at absolute best case scenario, those teams are 10 points back. They are 10 points back, which is essentially 5 games behind the Avalanche.
In a normal year, it's impossible to make up that ground.
With 28 games to play.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where, and that's the best case scenario that you're going to make up. You have to be 5 games better over 28 games than a team who's lost 10 in regulation up to this point. You could totally do it. Head-to-head matchups would help. If Calgary wins all 3 of those head-to-heads, all right, now you're 4 points back. Again, best case scenario, you win every one of those games, the Avs get no points, you're still 4 points back of them. Yeah. So I think they'll be important. March will be an important month, but the Avalanche can effectively end the top seed in the West race this month, especially if they do well against Calgary head-to-head.
Yep. It, mathematics being what they are in the NHL, nothing is ever clinched until April, but for all intents and purposes, it could be pretty much over by mid-March.
Yeah.
We do have one super chat here to get to. $10 from Nom Nom. Thank you very much. King of the game, goalie Redline. Anders Lee preventing New York from scoring their own goal. Shout out to him on that one. Definitely helped the out. I'm pretty confident that puck goes in if he doesn't touch it.
Yeah.
So take it where you can get it, I guess. Sometimes lucky, sometimes the hockey gods smile upon you. I think we're pretty good here. Any final thoughts from either of you two tonight?
Can I just say how wild it is that the Avs, through 54 games, have a 52-point lead on Arizona?
Actually ridiculous. That's the one thing. If the Avs do continue on this pace, and so does Arizona, they could actually statistically eliminate Arizona from first place in the West like next week.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, it might. I mean, I guess this isn't really important, but they might be able to do it sooner than that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just
Well,
curious.
Blais, any final thoughts?
I mean, this Thursday game, the Avs took the L from Arizona last time they played.
They
so.
did. It's true.
Actually, if the Avs beat Arizona head to head,
It's over.
It pushes it to even.
And they'll have lost the season series then.
Yeah.
So
Well, and so the one Arizona's magic number would be 1 at that point. So any point that the Avs get or Arizona
that's
loses,
so dumb. That's so dumb.
the Coyotes, if the Avs beat the Coyotes in regulation, I believe it'll be
Any other point either way means that Arizona can no longer finish top in the West.
Mathematically, they will not be able to catch Colorado.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
I wonder where Suns and 4 guy is right now.
On that nonsense, we're going to wrap up the show today. We are off tomorrow. We'll be back for pre and post game as well as watch along Thursday. So be sure to go check that out. And then Friday, I think Jesse and I are going to be doing a little bit of a goalie show. Don't actually believe in any goalies can get traded, but then the goalie show will be there so we can shut y'all up. Next week, we're going to be doing some roast my roster stuff. So be sure to get your cap-friendly rosters and trades ready, locked, and loaded for that.
No, not next week.
Yes, next week.
No, that's too soon.
Why?
Because we need to wait for a few other things to happen.
Do we?
Yes. We need as many games played to try and decide what Dallas is.
Yeah, the end of next week is like March 13th. Like, we're a week from the deadline. It's got to be then. We can talk. Sometime in the next 2 weeks, we're doing a roast your roster. So have them ready.
Look, start working on them. I know that you guys. What I want to see is cap friendly starting to fill up with DNVR rosters.
Yeah,
that's my favorite, especially when somebody doesn't know what DNVR is and is like, What the hell is going on? Who is this guy?
Either
There was a
way,
person last year who genuinely thought it was one person.
posting 80
Making
rosters.
a new account to create different rosters every single, like, for like 3 weeks that this dude thought that it was one guy doing this.
Okay. We're going to get out of here. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We appreciate it a ton. Be sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We will be back on Thursday. Until then, we will talk to you on the next one.